So out of the side here, I can see two stats at any given time. For example, pace and distance, cadence and heart rate, etc. The issue there is that it can auto-rotate, but maybe every 10 seconds or so. So you might have to wait quite a while before you get to the stat of which you're really interested. Or you can freeze it on just 2, but then you have just 2. And that's another problem, because oftentimes I want, like, for example, 3 stats: distance, current pace, heart rate, something like that. And you can't really do that. The other issue is that there's bounce. The glasses themselves aren't bouncing, but my body's naturally bouncing a little bit. And so the display isn't actually that readable for me. I mean, the contrast and everything's great, but it's just hard to read because it's bouncing a little bit. And then I have the unique problem of being nearsighted, and I have my contacts in now, so I can see far great. But when I read, I take off my glasses. And so the display here just feels a little bit too close, and it's a little bit blurry. I realize that's my problem, but if anyone else out there is nearsighted, it'll be your problem as well. Another issue is that you need to bring your phone and have your phone connect to the glasses. 10 years ago maybe, but I don't like carrying my phone when I run. So these glasses really need to connect Bluetooth to the watch I'm wearing, which opens up another range of issues, but having to carry the phone, for me, it's a bit of a showstopper. So I think Solus has done a commendable job. Maybe I would call this a proof of concept. So with this, I can really envision what the future is going to be, but it's going to take some more engineering to get there. I love the idea of heads-up display for running for all sports, and undoubtedly it's the future. The problem is it's just not quite the present yet. The implementation needs to be a little bit better. We need the display in the lens, not with an arm outside. You need to be able to control the stats you see with your hands, not up here, but maybe a ring, your finger, something in your hand that can be controlled remotely. So I've just come back from my run with Solos smart glasses, taking a shower. I wanted to talk a little bit about my thoughts after the run. So where are we now with Solos and with smart glasses? Well, I think Solos made a few good decisions, and tough ones at that. So for example, they left GPS out of the specs. Now I know the price of GPS chips was falling, and it probably wouldn't have cost that much more to add. But since we're already carrying GPS either in the phones or watches, we don't need to duplicate that, especially given the hit it would take to battery life. Another thing they did right is they didn't overcrowd it with stats, right? That display is really, really small, so it was only showing 2 stats at one time, and I think that's a smart decision, even though on our watch we usually have 4 or more fields going. Now, it wasn't all perfect. I think there are a number of problems, some of which I wasn't anticipating. The first one was Eyestrain. So I ran with the Solos for 6 miles, and I noticed after about 2 or 3 miles of running and having to continually look to the right and to refocus my eye, at the end of the run I had a little bit of eye strain, and definitely wasn't expecting that. The other was the bouncing, right? The glasses fit firmly, but that little kind of bouncing up and down just made the small numbers to read that much harder, especially because 1, I'm nearsighted and couldn't really see it perfectly clearly, and 2, I was really having a tough time adjusting the display so that I could see it head on without it fading at the bottom. Maybe 20% of the screen or so was a little bit out of eyesight. The auto-rotating feature I found to be a little bit frustrating as well. I just wish, as I mentioned before, that there was some sort of hands-free remote control device that can automatically change the stats. I mean, ideally what I'd love to see is maybe 2 rings, one on the left hand and right hand. You press one for like adjusting the stats and the other one for start, stop, and lap. Something like that I think would be really cool and actually really useful. And then the biggest problem really I had was the fact that I had to carry my phone with me, and I never like to carry my phone when I run. Now, I used to be a product manager, and I did some in hardware and software and in services. So I totally understand the reason to connect to a phone and to avoid all the pitfalls, to connect to multiple systems and multiple platforms like Android Wear, Apple Watch OS, Garmin's, Suunto's, Polar's, etc. Right? It's a minefield out there. But that said, it still would be a much better experience to not have to bring my phone with me when I was running. And so where are we today? Well, we're just still not quite there yet at the intersection of user experience, technology, right, and the price point. I think we're getting pretty close, and you could definitely see the future. See what I did there? You could see the future with these Solos glasses, but at present, they're just not good enough. I mean, I would actually prefer to have my watch with me with all the problems that involves than to have run with the Solos glasses. Now, I hope 2.0, maybe next year, whenever it comes out, might solve those problems, and we could finally stop that stupid behavior we've been doing for decades, well, maybe generations, of looking down at our watch like this while walking or running or what have you. I mean, just because we've been doing it for so long doesn't make it right, and I can't wait for the day when we don't have to do that. And it's pretty clear to me that heads-up display will be an important part, not only of running and cycling, but even ball sports and all other sports in general, maybe even in our general way of life, because having to look down at a phone isn't actually that much better than having to look down at a watch, and we need something better, and I think heads-up displays are that something that will be better. Well, so that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed taking this journey with me. If you liked what you saw, please like this video. If you really liked what you saw, then go ahead and subscribe. And we'll see you all next time from the Running Otaku. Bye-bye.